Hey there gang, Patrick King here, coming to you live from Rose Ridge Farm in Stanton, Virginia. We want to talk a little bit today about introducing your horse to the shoulder in under saddle. Yesterday we did, or day before yesterday, we did a couple videos about introducing your horse to the shoulder in hand. Today we're going to take that to our under saddle work. One of the big things that I want to keep in mind whenever we're working on our shoulder in is that we don't want to be pushing and shoving and bracing and, all of that fun stuff. And we tend to see riders do that when the horse is maybe not responding to them in the way that they would hope. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as we go today. We're working always for the idea of lightness to the aids and lightness from our horse to our seat. Okay, so now when we first start introducing the shoulder in to our horse under saddle, I like to think about introducing it from a circle, from a vault, 10, 8-meter circle, something like that. We're going to ride our circle, and then as we close the circle, we're going to take maybe one more step onto that circle before we start to carry it down the track. We almost have our horses thinking, oh, this guy wants a circle, he's just not quite sure where he wants me to put it. Okay, and you'll see how that works here in a minute. So we're going to start with the circle. We'll initiate the shoulder in from the circle, and then I'm going to reward the shoulder in by circling again, because we've got our horse in the position for that circle. We'll just allow him to go to that. So the preparation and the release for our shoulder in at the beginning stages here is that 10-meter circle. So we're going to start out showing you that. As we talked about in hand, the shoulder in can be ridden in two different ways. You can ride it in a stretching sort of a frame, or you can ride it in a more connected frame. In the stretching frame, it's going to help our horse with the relaxation through the top line. So we'll start there. I ride this circle. I'll ride it one more time as I talk about my aids. My inside leg is going to stay here at the girth. My outside leg is slightly behind. My inside rein is going to be slightly open, I'm exaggerating right now, slightly open to the inside, while my outside rein connects to the withers. The inside rein basically shows our horse the way, the outside rein stabilizes the body. I'm going to close the circle, one more step, and then I think about, again, I'm exaggerating, I think about riding my hips down the rail as I keep my shoulders slightly inside. I'm going to come back this way and show you that again. Again, we're on our circle. As I close my circle, I'm going to take one step farther. And again, to exaggerate, I think about hooking my outside hip toward the rail. One more step on the circle, hook my outside hip toward the rail. And now I'll release my horse back onto the circle. You notice there's not a lot of pushing going on here. When our horse is soft through the back, soft through the top line, they're able very well to feel the movement that we make through our seat. So again, I'm going to close our circle, one more step, and carry my hip along the track. My inside rein stays to the inside to help my horse understand that that's still where I want him to be focusing. My outside rein stays more against the withers to help keep an engagement through the haunches. Our finished product for this, we could be wherever we want to be, along a track, along a circle. My shoulders coming slightly to the inside as I want his to. My inside leg asking for engagement and energy. My outside leg supporting the haunches. Inside rein helping with the bend. Outside rein helping with the stabilization. One of the common problems that we see with riders when they're trying to get the shoulder in is that they're squeezing and they're pushing with their leg. What you want to think about with that's going to run you into some trouble. The more I squeeze, the harder I try to push with my leg, the more that's going to cause me to sit into my inside seat bone and collapse into the inside with my horse here. We've got to think about what needs to happen in that shoulder in. His inside hind leg needs to step farther, reaching farther, engaging, you're so funny, engaging underneath him more through the movement. If I'm diving deep into that leg, I'm basically adding more weight to that leg and potentially blocking it from stepping forward. This is why I want to think about being slightly back, slightly to the outside with my seat bone, all right? Not enough that you'd even really see a difference, but we want to think about that with our horse. If I'm here sitting to the inside, we'll see how he'll drop into his inside shoulder. If I shift my seat bone over to the outside, we'll see his balance change, and we'll see the inside hind leg start to carry itself deeper under the body. Again, releasing my horse then forward onto the circle. Once you've played around with this idea on the straight track, you can play with things like shoulder in on a circle. I could ride the circle, setting my hips, my body onto the circle, and then I think about riding my shoulders slightly to the inside, asking his shoulders then to come slightly to the inside. This is where your outside leg really comes in handy. A horse will have a tendency to really drift the haunches to the outside unless our outside leg is back in a supportive position to help them stay on the track with the haunches. Again, keeping in mind for all of this that it never at any point should it feel like we're pushing or shoving to get our horse into that position. If you feel the need to push, to shove, to over-aid, it's probably a good idea to go back to the in-hand work, go back to the ground, and help him prepare that way again so that he understands what it is you're asking. Okay? Once we get that going on at the walk, then we can start asking for maybe a bit of trot work. Again, we can ride this in more of a stretching, reaching frame, or we can start to connect our horse. I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to begin on a 10-meter circle, preparing my position. I'm going to ask him for a second circle and then say, oh gee, I changed my mind, not quite sure where I want that circle. And then I'll release the shoulder in onto the 10-meter circle again. Again, we'll show that. One more step. Just kidding. Take that down the track. Releasing one more time. And again, you see, it's not a pushing, it's not a pulling, there's not a lot of effort on my part, plenty of effort on his part, but he's soft and he's relaxed because of how we're presenting it. If you feel that your horse isn't moving from your seat, don't squeeze and beg. If he doesn't follow with my seat, I might tickle that hind leg with the whip, just the same way we did with our in-hand work. Okay, and again, don't be afraid to go back to working in hand if you feel that your horse is struggling with that. I hope this is helpful to you guys. Thanks so much.